You're seeing this message because something extraordinary is about to be revealed. This isn't random scrolling or algorithmic chance. You've been drawn to discover a code that less than 1% of humanity has ever truly comprehended. What I'm about to share with you represents one of the most profound secrets ever hidden in plain sight, a mathematical blueprint that governs the very fabric of reality itself. Nikola Tesla, perhaps the most brilliant mind to ever walk this earth, spent his entire life obsessed with three numbers. Not just interested, not merely curious, but completely consumed by what he called the key to unlocking the universe. These weren't arbitrary choices or the eccentricities of a genius mind. Tesla understood something that modern science is only beginning to glimpse. Something that connects the deepest mysteries of consciousness with the fundamental structure of existence. The numbers 3, 6, and 9 held such power for Tesla that they dictated every aspect of his daily life. He would walk around buildings exactly 3 times before entering. He demanded 18 napkins at every meal, insisted on staying in hotel rooms whose numbers were divisible by 3, and structured his work schedule around these sacred digits. Most people dismiss this as obsessive behavior, the quirks of an eccentric inventor. They couldn't have been more wrong. Tesla once declared that if you understood the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, you would possess a key to the universe. This wasn't metaphorical poetry from a dreamer. This was a scientific declaration from the man who gave us alternating current wireless technology and inventions that were decades ahead of their time. Tesla saw patterns where others saw only numbers, connections where others saw only coincidence. But here's what will shock you about Tesla's obsession with these numbers. Every single day, modern quantum physicists are discovering that Tesla was right. The universe operates on principles that align perfectly with his 369 code. The mathematics that govern atomic behavior, the frequencies that create matter itself, the vibrational patterns that hold galaxies together. They all point back to these 3 numbers. When Tesla spoke of energy, frequency, and vibration as the secrets of the universe, he wasn't speaking philosophically. He was revealing a scientific truth that would take humanity another century to begin understanding. The 369 code represents the mathematical signature of how consciousness interacts with reality, how intention becomes manifestation, how the invisible becomes visible. Consider this carefully. Every breakthrough Tesla achieved, from the Tesla coil to his wireless transmission experiments, emerged from his understanding of these numbers. His most revolutionary inventions weren't created through trial and error or conventional engineering. They flowed from his recognition that 3, 6, and 9 represent the fundamental organizing principles of energy itself. The mathematical foundation of Tesla's discovery lies in something called digital root analysis. When you examine the doubling sequence, starting with 1 and continuing infinitely, something extraordinary happens. The pattern 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 repeats endlessly. But 3, 6, and 9 never appear in this sequence. They exist outside the doubling pattern, operating on a completely different level of mathematical reality. This absence isn't random or coincidental. It reveals that 3, 6, and 9 function as what Tesla called flux fields, vectors that connect our 3-dimensional reality to higher dimensions. While the other numbers create the matrix of physical existence, 3, 6, and 9 represent the controlling forces that govern that matrix from beyond. Tesla understood that 9 possesses the most remarkable property in mathematics. Add 9 to any number, calculate its digital root, and the original number's essence remains unchanged. 9 doesn't alter other numbers, it reveals their true nature. This is why Tesla considered 9 the number of enlightenment, the digit that strips away illusion to expose underlying truth. But the implications extend far beyond mathematics. Ancient civilizations across the globe recognized the sacred power of these numbers. The pyramids of Giza incorporate 3, 6, and 9 into their very structure. The Great Pyramid contains 3 chambers, is built with 3 primary stone layers, and maintains a height-to-base ratio that reflects these sacred proportions. The builders of these monuments weren't primitive people playing with rocks. They were advanced beings who understood the same cosmic principles Tesla would rediscover thousands of years later. They encoded 3, 6, and 9 into their architecture because they knew these numbers represent the bridge between physical and spiritual reality. In ancient Egypt, 3 was associated with Horus and represented wisdom and spiritual insight. 6 connected to Ptah, the creator god who spoke the world into existence through the power of sound and vibration. 9 belonged to Atum, the deity who brought forth life from primordial chaos. These weren't arbitrary religious symbols. They were scientific descriptions of how consciousness creates reality. Every major spiritual tradition throughout history has recognized the significance of these numbers. Christianity speaks of the Trinity, the threefold nature of divine consciousness. Buddhism describes the 3 jewels, the foundational principles of enlightenment. Hinduism teaches about the 3 gunas, the fundamental forces that create and sustain existence. These aren't coincidences or cultural borrowings. They represent humanity's intuitive recognition of a mathematical truth that Tesla would later prove scientifically. 3, 6, and 9 appear in sacred texts and spiritual teachings because they describe the actual mechanism through which consciousness shapes reality. Tesla's genius lay in recognizing that these numbers weren't just spiritual symbols or mathematical curiosities. They were the operational codes of the universe itself. He understood that by aligning with these frequencies, by structuring his thoughts and actions around these patterns, he could tap into the same creative force that shapes galaxies and governs atomic behavior. The number 3 represents the creative principle, the initial impulse that brings something from nothing. It's the triangle, the most stable geometric form, the foundation upon which all complex structures are built. When Tesla worked in multiples of 3, he was aligning himself with the fundamental creative force of existence. 6 embodies balance and harmony, the point where opposing forces reach equilibrium. It appears in the structure of snowflakes, the geometry of crystals, the hexagonal patterns of honeycombs. Tesla recognized that 6 represents the perfect balance between energy and matter, the frequency at which creation stabilizes into form. 9 signifies completion and transformation, the end of one cycle and the beginning of another. It contains within itself all the properties of every other number while remaining unchanged by addition. Tesla saw 9 as the number of transcendence, the frequency that allows consciousness to move beyond the limitations of 3-dimensional reality. But Tesla's understanding went deeper than symbolic interpretation. He discovered that these numbers appear consistently in the vibrational frequencies that govern physical reality. The electromagnetic spectrum, the resonant frequencies of atoms, the orbital patterns of electrons, they all reflect the 369 pattern when analyzed at the quantum level. This is why Tesla's inventions worked when conventional engineering said they shouldn't. His AC motors, his wireless transmission experiments, his free energy research, they all operated on principles derived from his understanding of 3, 6, and 9. He wasn't just building machines, he was creating technologies that resonated with the fundamental frequencies of reality itself. Modern science is finally beginning to catch up with Tesla's insights. Quantum physicists now understand that consciousness plays reality. The observer effect a fundamental role in determining physical quantum entanglement, the collapse of probability waves into definite outcomes, possibilities that responds to conscious observation and isn't fixed or predetermined. These phenomena all point to the same conclusion. It's a dynamic field of Tesla reached over a century ago, reality intention. The 369 code represents the mathematical language through which consciousness communicates with this field, the frequency signatures that allow awareness to shape experience. Tesla's daily rituals weren't obsessive behaviors or manifestations of mental illness. They were practical applications of cosmic law, methods for maintaining alignment with the creative frequencies that govern existence. By structuring his life around 3, 6, and 9, Tesla kept himself tuned to the same sustained reality. When wavelengths that create and he walked around buildings 3, he was creating times. A vortex pattern that aligned his energy field with the Earth's magnetic resonance. When he insisted on 18 napkins, he was surrounding himself with objects arranged according to the mathematical principles that govern atomic structure. These weren't random compulsions, they were deliberate techniques for maintaining coherence with universal law. The implications of Tesla's discovery extend far beyond scientific curiosity or historical interest. Understanding the 369 code provides access to the same creative powers that Tesla used to revolutionize human civilization. It offers a roadmap for transcending the limitation that most people accept as permanent features of reality. This isn't about believing in magic or abandoning rational thought. This is about recognizing that the universe operates according to mathematical principles that are far more elegant and interconnected than conventional. The 369 code science has yet acknowledged represents the bridge between ancient wisdom and cutting-edge physics, between spiritual insight and scientific discovery that when Tesla prove you align your consciousness with these frequencies, remarkable fundamental things become possible. Technologies emerge that shouldn't work according to conventional understanding. Solutions appear to problems that seemed unsolvable. Synchronicities multiply as your awareness resonates with the same patterns that orchestrate cosmic events. The question isn't whether Tesla's 369 code reveals genuine cosmic principles. The mathematics, the physics, the historical evidence all confirm its validity. The question is whether you're ready to step beyond the limitations of conventional thinking and embrace the extraordinary possibilities this knowledge makes available. Most people go operating with only realizing they're through their entire lives, never a fraction of their true potential. They accept limitations as natural law, dismiss synchronicities as coincidence, and remain indifferent. You've been blind to the mathematical they touch, but you patterns that could transform everything drawn here because something within you recognizes that reality operates according to principles far more extraordinary than what you've been taught. The 369 code doesn't just reveal how the universe functions. It provides the exact blueprint for stepping into alignment with forces that most people never even suspect exist. When you truly understand what Tesla discovered, when you begin applying these principles in your daily life, you don't just gain knowledge, you undergo a fundamental transformation in how reality responds to your presence. Here's what happens when you start living according to Tesla's code. Your thoughts begin carrying different weight. Your intentions start manifesting with unusual speed and precision. Opportunities appear that seem too perfectly timed to be random. Resources flow toward you through channels you never could have anticipated. This isn't wishful thinking or New Age fantasy. This is the natural result of aligning your consciousness with the same mathematical principles that govern atomic Gauss structure and actic formation. But let's go deeper into the mechanics of how this actually works. Tesla discovered that consciousness doesn't exist separately from the physical. Instead, awareness and universe matter represent of the same underlying field, different expressions, different frequencies of the same fundamental energy. The 369 pattern provides the harmonic bridge between these different states of existence. When you structure your thoughts, actions, and intentions around these numbers, you're essentially tuning your personal frequency to match the operating system of reality itself. Your consciousness begins broadcasting on the create and sustain physical same wavelengths that form. The universe stops treating you like a passive observer and starts recognizing you as an active participant in the creative process. This is why Tesla's inventions seem to violate known laws of physics. He wasn't breaking natural law. He was operating from a deeper understanding of how those laws actually function. His consciousness had achieved coherence with the 369 frequencies, allowing him to perceive possibilities that remained invisible to minds operating on conventional wavelengths. The practical implications of this discovery are staggering. Every experience, area of human from health and relationships to creativity and material abundance, operates according to vibrational principles that can be influenced through conscious alignment with Tesla's code. When you understand how to work with these frequencies rather than against them, limitations that seemed permanent begin dissolving like morning fog. Consider what modern quantum physicists call the observer effect. The act of conscious observation literally determines which possibilities collapse into experienced reality. This isn't metaphor or philosophical speculation, it's measurable scientific fact. Your awareness doesn't just witness reality, it actively participates in creating. Tesla understood what becomes real intuitively. He knew that consciousness, this principle and operating at 369 frequencies, could influence the quantum field in ways that conventional awareness cannot. When his mind achieved resonance with these patterns that exist, he gained access to information and possibilities beyond the reach of ordinary perception. This explains why Tesla often described his inventions as downloads rather than discoveries. He wasn't figuring things out through logical analysis or trial and error experimentation. He was tuning into frequencies where complete solutions already existed in potential form, then using his understanding of 369 principles to collapse those possibilities into physical manifestation. The ancient mystery schools understood this same principle. They taught that reality consists of multiple layers or the dimensions, with physical world representing only the densest expression of a much more complex energetic matrix. The initiates learned to navigate between these layers using mathematical keys that allowed consciousness to operate at different vibrational frequencies. 3, 6, and 9 were among the most sacred of these keys because they provided access to what the ancients called the creative realms. These are the dimensional frequencies where possibilities exist before they crystallize into physical form. Consciousness operating at these levels doesn't just observe what already exists, it participates in determining what becomes real. Tesla's daily rituals weren't random obsessions, but practical techniques for maintaining this elevated operational frequency. Walking around buildings 3 times created a spiral energy pattern that aligned his bioelectric field with Earth's naturalisting on specific numbers resonance. Ins of objects arranged his immediate environment according to harmonic principles that support. Every coherent consciousness detail of Tesla's lifestyle reflected his understanding that human awareness operates most effectively when it resonates with the mathematical patterns that govern universal structure. He wasn't trying to impose arbitrary order on chaos. He was aligning himself with the intrinsic order that already exists at the deepest levels of reality. The number 3 initiates creativity. Process. It represents the moment when static potential transforms into dynamic manifestation. In Tesla's understanding, 3 is the frequency of inception. The VI that announces rational signature, the beginning of something, aligns with 3 new. When consciousness frequency, it gains access to the same creative force that brings galaxies into existence. But 3 alone cannot sustain creation. The initial creative impulse must achieve stability and balance to persist in physical form. This is where 6 becomes crucial. Tesla recognized 6 as the frequency of equilibrium, the mathematical expression of perfect balance between opposing forces. When creation reaches 6 frequency, It achieves the stability necessary to maintain coherent form. 9 represents the completion of the creative cycle and the preparation for transcendence to higher orders of organization. Tesla understood 9 Teri, the VI, as the frequency of masbrational state where consciousness has fully integrated the lessons of manifestation and stands ready to operate at even more elevated levels of reality. This 3-stage process, inception through stabilization to transcendence, describes not just Tesla's understanding of cosmic creativity, but the actual mechanism through which all manifestation occurs. Every thought that becomes action, every vision that becomes reality, every possibility that crystallizes into experience follows this exact pattern. Tesla's genius lay in recognizing that human consciousness could, rather than remaining consciously participate in this process, unconsciously subject to it. By aligning awareness with 3 could become active Co-6-9 frequencies. Individuals, creators with the same forces that shape stars and orchestrate the dance of subatomic particles. The modern scientific community is slowly rediscovering what into consciousness Tesla knew intuitively. Research studies quantum field theory and bioelectric phenomena increasingly confirms that awareness operates according to measurable principles that interact directly with physical reality. The observer effect represents just the beginning of understanding how consciousness shapes experience. Advanced practitioners of Tesla's principles report experiences that seem impossible from conventional perspectives. They describe accessing information that exists beyond normal sensory channels. They manifest synchronicities with such consistency that coincidence becomes an inadequate explanation. They develop what can only be described as a direct line of communication with the intelligence, ability, or mystical gift frequencies that organizes universal. This isn't supernatural. It's the natural result of consciousness operating at processes people never learn to access. Tesla proved that any sufficiently developed mind can achieve this level of coherence with universal principles. The 369 code provides the mathematical roadmap for making that development systematic rather than accidental. But here's what most people miss about Tesla's discovery. The code doesn't just describe how reality works. It provides specific instructions for upgrading your personal operating system to function at the same level. When you begin implementing these patterns in your daily life, you don't just gain theoretical understanding. You undergo practical transformation in how existence responds to your presence. The implications extend far beyond personal development or individual achievement. Tesla understood that widespread human alignment with 369 principles could trigger a species-wide evolutionary leap. Imagine civilization operating from coherence with the same mathematical principles that govern cosmic harmony. The technologies, the social structures, the very nature of human experience would transform beyond current recognition. This is why Tesla's work represented more than scientific advancement or technological innovation. He was laying the groundwork for humanity's next stage of development, providing the tools necessary for conscious evolution beyond the limitations that have defined history. The question that human experience throughout record remains is whether you're ready to step into this expanded understanding of what's possible. Tesla's 369 code isn't just historical curiosity or abstract mathematical principle. It's an active invitation to participate in the same creative processes that brought you into existence and continue shaping the reality you experience every moment. The moment you begin experimenting with Tesla's code, reality starts responding differently to your presence. This isn't gradual change that takes months or years to notice. The shifts begin immediately because you're aligning with time. Frequencies that operate outside linear synchronicities increase. Opportunities multiply. Solutions appear to problems that seemed impossible just days before. But here's what separates those who experience minor improvements from those who undergo complete life transformation. Most people approach Tesla's code like a technique to be practiced occasionally, rather than a fundamental shift in how consciousness operates. They write their intentions 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times in the evening, treating it like a ritual that exists separate from the rest of their existence. Tesla understood something far more profound: the 3-6-9 pattern. It's a complete isn't just a manifestation recalibration of how awareness interfaces with reality. When you truly integrate these frequencies, they begin governing not just your intentional practices, but every thought, every decision, every moment of conscious attention throughout your day. Consider how Tesla structured his entire existence around these numbers. He didn't just use them during specific exercises or meditation periods. His sleep patterns, his work schedule, his eating habits, his walking routes, every aspect of his daily experience reflected his understanding that consciousness operates most effectively when it maintains constant alignment with cosmic mathematical principles. This requires recognizing that you're not separate level of integration from the field you're trying to influence. The quantum realm doesn't recognize boundaries between observer awareness, achieves coherence with 3-6 and observed. When you're 9 frequencies, you don't just interact with reality differently. You become a different expression of the same underlying intelligence that creates and sustains all existence. The ancient mystery schools taught this principle through of correspondences, as above what they called the doctrine as within, so without. The so below. Patterns that govern cosmic structure also govern human consciousness. The mathematics that describe galactic formation also describe thought processes. The frequencies that create atomic bonds also create the bonds between intention and manifestation. Tesla proved this doctrine scientifically. His inventions worked because they reflected the same organizational principles that govern natural phenomena. His wireless transmission experiment succeeded because consciousness and electromagnetic radiation operate according to identical mathematical laws. His free energy research approached breakthrough because he understood that awareness itself represents a fundamental force of nature. Modern quantum physicists call this phenomenon non-locality. Particles separated by vast distances influence each other instantaneously, suggesting that space and time don't create the barriers they appear to create. Tesla recognized that consciousness operates according to the same principle. Awareness aligned with 3-6-9 frequencies and probably influence possibilities and abilities regardless of apparent physical separation. This explains why Tesla's most revolutionary ideas often came than active experimentation. He had moments of quiet contemplation rather to him and learned to tune his consciousness to frequencies where complete solutions already existed in potential form. His genius wasn't in inventing new possibilities, but in accessing information that exists of sequential beyond the limitations time. The 3-6-9 pattern provides the harmonic key for achieving this level of consciousness. Cohere around these frequencies, you begin operating in. When you structure your awareness from the same dimensional perspective that Tesla accessed, problems that seemed complex from ordinary consciousness reveal themselves as simple from elevated awareness. Limitations that appeared permanent dissolve when viewed from higher mathematical understanding of. But this transformation requires more than intellectual compre Tesla's theories. The principles must be embodied through consistent practice until they become your natural way of processing experience. Every thought must be examined for its vibrational quality. Every intention must be aligned with 3-6-9 frequencies. Every action must reflect your understanding that consciousness and reality represent different expressions of the same underlying field. The modern manifestation movement has popularized a simplified version of Tesla's code through techniques like writing desires 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times in the evening. these practices can produce. While remarkable results, they represent only the beginning of what becomes possible when you fully embrace Tesla's understanding. True mastery involves recognizing that manifestation isn't something you do occasionally. It's something represents an opportunity to align with you are constantly. Every moment of conscious awareness thought carries creative forces that most to access. Every people never learn the potential to broadcasts frequencies that attract influence quantum probabilities. Every emotion his daily routine to maintain constant coherence with these principles corresponding experiences. Tesla structure at times that support rhythms of electromagnetic fields. He ate that honored the natural. He slept in cycles to optimal brainwave coherence. He organized his workspace according to geometric patterns that enhanced consciousness flow. Every detail of his existence reflected his understanding that human awareness operates most effectively when it resonates with universal mathematical order. This level of integration transforms not just what you experience, but how you experience it. Ordinary consciousness perceives reality as a series of separate events connected by cause and effect relationships. Consciousness operating at 369 frequencies recognizes reality as a seam. When different aspects of the same creative process, intention and manifestation representless field of interconnected possibilities where the you achieve this perspective, thoughts dawn begin dissolving. And outer experience boundaries between inner just influence your internal. They participate state directly in shaping external circumstances. Emotions don't just reflect your response to events. They actively contribute to determining which eyes into experience possibilities crystal. Tesla discovered that consciousness operating at these elevated frequencies gains access to information that exists beyond ordinary sensory channels. He could perceive the electromagnetic patterns that would later become his inventions. He could sense the mathematical relationships that would guide his experiments. He could feel the vibrational qualities that would determine whether specific approaches would succeed or fail. This isn't supernatural ability or mystical gift. It's the natural result of consciousness achieving coherence with the same frequencies that organize universal processes. Every human being possesses this capacity. The 369 code provides the systematic method for developing what Tesla proved was possible for anyone willing to align their awareness with cosmic mathematical principles. The implications extend beyond personal transformation or individual achievement. Tesla understood that his discoveries represented more than technological advancement. They pointed toward humanity's next stage of evolutionary development. When enough individuals learn to operate from 369 consciousness, the entire species undergoes transformation in how reality responds to collective awareness. Imagine civilization functioning from coherence with the same mathematical principles that govern atomic structure and galactic formation. The technologies that would emerge, the social organizations that would develop, the very nature of human experience would transcend everything that has defined recorded history. Tesla's work provided the foundation for this evolutionary leap by proving that consciousness can achieve direct resonance with creative forces. The question that determines your future isn't whether Tesla's discoveries reveal valid cosmic principles. The mathematics confirms their accuracy. The physics supports their implications. The evidence demonstrates their practical applications. The question is whether you're prepared to step beyond conventional limitations and embrace the extraordinary possibilities this knowledge makes available. Most people spend their entire lives operating at a fraction of their actual potential because they never discover how to align consciousness with the frequencies that create reality. They accept limitations as natural law. They dismiss synchronicities as coincidence. They remain unconscious of the mathematical patterns that could transform every aspect of their existence. But you've been drawn to this knowledge because something within you recognizes that reality operates according to principles far more extraordinary than conventional understanding suggests. The 369 code doesn't just describe how the universe functions. It provides the exact blueprint for stepping into alignment with forces that most people never suspect exist. When you truly comprehend what Tesla discovered, when you begin implementing these principles as a complete way of being rather than occasional practice, you don't just acquire new information. You undergo fundamental transformation in how existence responds to your presence. Your thoughts begin carrying different weight in the quantum field. Your intentions start manifesting with precision that defies statistical probability. Your awareness gains access to possibilities that remain invisible to conventional consciousness. The ancient teachings spoke of awakening for precisely this reason. They understood that human consciousness possesses capacities that exceed anything taught through conventional education or accepted by mainstream science. The 369 code represents Tesla's scientific validation of what mystery schools have taught for millennia. Reality responds directly to awareness operating at specific vibrational frequencies. This recognition changes everything about how you approach each moment of experience. Every thought becomes an opportunity to align with creative forces. Every emotion becomes a tool for influencing quantum probabilities. Every action becomes an expression of your understanding that consciousness and reality represent different aspects of the same fundamental field. Tesla proved that individual awareness aligned with 369 principles can influence circumstances miraculous from ordinary perspectives in ways that appear. Technologies emerge that shouldn't work according to conventional physics. Solutions appear to problems that seemed unsolvable. Synchronicities multiply until coincidence becomes an inadequate explanation for the precision of universal response. Human consciousness represents far more than passive awareness observing external events. When properly aligned with the mathematical principles that govern existence, awareness becomes an active participant in the creative processes that determine which possibilities crystallize into experience. Tesla's 369 code provides the systematic method for achieving this level of conscious participation in reality creation. The time has come to move beyond theoretical understanding and begin practical application of these principles. Tesla didn't just study cosmic mathematics. He lived them. He embodied them. He allowed them to transform not just his inventions, but his entire way out directly achievements fall of being in the world. His extraordinary from his willingness to align every aspect of his existence with the frequencies that create and completely that they become your natural way of sustain universal to integrate them so commitment Tesla made. Not transformation begins the moment you make order. You're just to understand these principles intellectually, but the same processing reality. When 3 in your actions, you step emotions, your intentions. 6-9 frequencies begin governing your thoughts, your same creative partnership with universal intelligence into that allowed ionized human civilization, Tesla to revolute. The moment you commit to living from Tesla's 369 frequencies, something extraordinary begins happening in your field. You're not just practicing a technique or following a method. You're initiating a fundamental recalibration of how consciousness itself operates within the quantum matrix of existence. Every cell in your body starts resonating with mathematical patterns that most people never access in their entire lifetime. Your nervous system begins adapting to handle higher frequencies of information. The electromagnetic field generated by your heart expands and strengthens, broadcasting coherent signals that extend several feet beyond your physical body. This isn't metaphorical description. This is me's that occurs when neurable biological transformation brational principles awareness aligns with the same VI that organize atomic structure and galactic formation. Within days of beginning this integration, you'll different weight and notice your thoughts carrying conversations. People respond to your presence differently, often without understanding why. Opportunities begin presenting themselves through channels you never could have predicted or planned. Resources start flowing toward you in ways that seem too perfectly timed to be coincidental. This acceleration happens because you're no longer operating as the fields separate from your trying to influence. The boundary between observer and observed dissolves when consciousness achieves resonance with 369 frequencies. You become a walking example of how directly an SH awareness can participate, aping the reality it experiences. But here's where most people stumble in their application of Tesla's code. They approach these numbers as external tools to be used rather than internal frequencies to be embodied. They write their intentions according to the prescribed pattern, but continue thinking, feeling, and acting from the same limited consciousness that created their current circumstances. True transformation requires understanding that 3, 6, and 9 aren't just numbers you use during specific practices. They represent VI of consciousness that can govern vibrational states every moment of your existence. When you breathe, you can breathe in patterns of 3, 6, and 9. When you walk, you can step in rhythms that honor these frequencies. When you speak your words according to these mathematical principles, Tesla, you can structure understood that reality responds not to what you occasionally do, but to what you consistently are. His daily rituals weren't separate from his scientific work. They were integral to maintaining the consciousness state that made his revolutionary discoveries possible. He knew that alignment with cosmic frequencies requires constant attention until these patterns become as natural as breathing. Consider how Tesla approached his most challenging inventions. He didn't begin with trial and error experimentation or logical analysis of known principles. He started by achieving coherence with 369 frequencies, then allowing complete solutions to emerge from elevated awareness. His consciousness could perceive possibilities that existed beyond the limitations of sequential time. This same capacity lies dormant within every human being. The difference between those who access extraordinary possibilities and those who remain trapped in ordinary limitations isn't talent, intelligence, or special circumstances. It's alignment with the mathematical principles that govern how consciousness interfaces with the quantum field. When you structure your daily existence around Tesla's code, remarkable changes begin occurring in how reality responds to your presence. Your sleep cycles naturally organize into patterns that support optimal brainwave coherence. Your eating preferences shift toward foods that enhance electromagnetic conductivity. Your social connections evolve to include people who resonate with elevated frequencies. These aren't conscious choices you make through willpower or determination. They happen automatically as your entire system recalibrates to maintain harmony with 369 principles. Your body knows instinctively how to support consciousness operating at these levels because every cell contains the same mathematical patterns that govern cosmic structure. The number 3 activates your creative centers, stimulating neural pathways associated with innovation and original thinking. When you consistently align with 3 frequency, your mind gains access to solutions that don't emerge through conventional problem-solving approaches. Ideas begin flowing through you rather than being generated by you. 6 brings your entire system into coherent balance, harmonizing the electromagnetic relationships between heart, brain, cohere networks. This and cellularance allows your bioelectric field to broadcast signals into clear the quantum matrix rather than the confused static that characterizes most human consciousness. When you achieve 6 frequency coherence, your intentions carry exponentially more influence determining which possibilities crystallize into experience. 9 opens channels of communication with intelligence that operates beyond individual awareness. This isn't contact with external entities or supernatural forces. This is recognition that consciousness itself represents a fundamental aspect of universal organization. When you align with 9 frequency, you gain access to the same creative intelligence that orchestrates the dance of subatomic particles and guides the formation of galaxies. Tesla's most profound discoveries emerged from his ability to maintain simultaneous connection with all 3 frequencies. His consciousness could initiate creation through 3, stabilize innovation through 6, and transcend conventional limitations through 9. This tri-frequency operation allowed him to perceive and manifest possibilities that remained invisible to minds operating on single-digit awareness. The practical implications of achieving this level of consciousness coherence extend far beyond personal development or individual success. When enough humans learn to operate from 3-6-9 alignment, the collective field begins resonating with these frequencies. Reality itself starts responding differently to human presence. Understood, these principles create ancient civilizations, that social structures that modern technologies and science cannot fully explain. The sophist precision of megalithic construction, the mathematic allocation of astronomical calculations, the engineering achievements that, from collective, all emerge exceed current capabilities consciousness operating in with cosmic mathematical principles. Tesla recognized harmony that his individual discoveries represented just capacity. Rediscovers it's the beginning of what becomes possible when humanity for conscious participation in universal, that would seem saw technologies for creativity. He magical from perspectives, social than control, and forms current resonance rather. Organizations based on principles of human experience that transcend everything recorded in history. This evolutionary beyond conventional limitations and embrace their right now, waiting for enough individuals to step potential exists. So Tesla's 3 collective awakening that makes 6-9 frequencies contribute person who learns to EMB these extraordinary authentic relationship communities. Your possibilities available to entire happen in isolation. The personal transformation doesn't to the with creative forces. Every moment you begin operating from elevate, you become a seed consciousness. Possibility to view that influences everyone whose life touch. Your presence activates dormant potentials in others. Your example demonstrates aligns with universal becomes what consciousness can achieve. Direct Cohere, the foundation for humanity's next stage of available when awareness. He was establishing mathematical principles. This more than scientific advancement or technological innovation is why Tesla's work represent proving that individual forces with ed sustain existence development by that creatin. His 3 to anyone willing to move 6-9 code provides the systematic method for making this development accessible the moment you recognize that you 8 capacity for operating something new. But remember not learning limitations. The transformation begins beyond acceptance. Every human being possesses innate 3 from those ready to receive them. Thereing something ancient of consciousness itself. The code these isn't external knowledge. Patterns exist, doesn't withhold its secret. Same mathematical principles that guided his revolutionary inventions remain 6-9 frequencies because to be acquired but internal potential understood that the universe at the foundation to be activated. Tesla 369 code represents available to anyone willing to align their awareness with cosmic frequencies. The talent or perfectiness, special ordinary circumstances isn't worth your inheritance as being capable of participating directly in the creative processes that extraordinary possibilities from those who remain trapped in determined experienced reality. What separates those who access a conscious comfortable limitationsingness to step beyond the conditions. It's willed responsibility that comes with conscious participation in universal creativity with Tesla's frequencies. Every thought can, Every moment offers opportunities to deepen your alignment thinking and embrace the profound of conventional be structured according as a tool for influencing quantum probabilities. Every to 369 patterns aspects of the same fundamental action can express your understanding that consciousness and reality represent different field. The ancient mystery schools taught. Every emotion can be experience, with physical experience of a much that reality consists of multiple dimensions, ifically what these traditions representing only the densest expression more complex energetic matrix. Tesla proved, science knew intuitively, consciousness operating at elevated frequencies can navigate between. This navigation doesn't require special abilities or mystical training. It happens naturally when awareness achieves dimensional layers, accessing information and possibilities that exist beyond the limitations of linear time. In systematically rather's coherence with the mathematical provides the harm principles that govern interdimensional relationships. The 369 code then accidentally. When you maintain consistent alignment with these frequencies, your consciousness sonic key for achieving this cohered permanent dissolve when viewed from higher mathematical reveal themselves as simple from elevated understanding. Limitations that seem to appear complex from ordinary awareness precision. This transformation in perspective changes not just what you perceive his most revolutionary discoveries. Problems begins operating from the same dimensional perspective that Tesla accessed. But how you participate, how your understanding of situation as an opportunity to demonstrate of your consciousness, you begin recogniting the ongoing creation of experiencing every they exist independently. Instead of reacting to circumstances as if awareness's genius lay in his consciousness represents far more than passive observation shapes reality. Tesla recognition that human of conscious participation. Your 369 pattern provides the systematic method for achieving this level of external events. When properly aligned with from quantum potential into experienced reality. The cosmic frequencies, awareness becomes an active force in determining which possibilities collapse journey into Tesla's code. Isn't just personal exploration or individual development. You're reclaiming your authentic relationship with the same creative intelligence that brings galaxies into existence and has been waiting for you to remember who changes everything about how you approach each moment of orchestrates the precise timing of every synchronicity in your life. This recognition conscious awareness. The universe you really are beneath all the conditioning that taught you to think code represents your invitation to step beyond these artificial small, doubt your perceptions and accept limitations as natural law. Tesla's 369 available when consciousness operates from its natural state of cosmic constraints and embrace the extraordinary possibilities that become coherence. Moment you fully embrace Tesla's 369 code as your operational frequency, something profound shifts in the quantum field surrounding you. You're no longer just a person practicing manifestation techniques or following spiritual protocols. You become same mathematical principles that govern how are born in a living embodiment of the stars, how consciousness itself evil. Your daily existence transforms law into a continuous experiment vs throughout the cosmos in applied cosmic. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to broadcast 6-9 frequencies through 3 your words and presence. Every decision point becomes a chance to demonstrate your understanding that reality responds directly to consciousness operating at specific vibrational levels. Every challenge becomes a test of your ability to maintain coherence with universal principles rather than reverting to old patterns of limitation and struggle. Tesla, these frequencies wasn't something understood that mastery of you achieved once and then maintained effortlessly. It requires subtle levels of cosmic continuous refinement as your consciousness adapts constant vigilance to handle increasingly information. The electromagnetic and your awareness same mathematical relationships operate according to these patterns that create matter itself must develop the capacity to perceive and interact with reality at this fundamental level. Consider what happens in your field when you maintain consistent 3 extended periods. Your Bio 6-9 alignment 4 electric signature begins broadcasting signals that attract frequencies. You to chase success people innate with elevate opportunities and circumstances that res don't have or manipulate outcomes because your very presence becomes magnetic or wishful. Manifest positive thinking to experiences that match your vibrational state. This is consciousness operating ation. This according to measurable laws of electromagnetic resonance. The ancient wisdom keepers understood this principle when they designed sacred ego, or displayed structures according to 369 purport creating monumentations. They were unified human consciousness and resonance chambers that amplified architectural skill. They were building facilitated direct communication with the intelligence that organizes universal processes. These structures served as training grounds where initiates learned to maintain coherence with cosmic frequencies regardless of external circumstances. Teslatry of these principles represents recognized that individualism is only the beginning of what becomes possible when groups of people achieve collective resonance with 369 patterns. His wireless transmission experiments weren't just demonstrations of electromagnetic technology, they were proof, showing how consciousness operating of concept studies at unified frequencies could transmit information instantaneously across any distance without physical infrastructure maintains daily alignment with Tesla's code. Imagine communities where every member collective field generated by such groups would create what modern physicists call constructive interference patterns. Individual consciousness streams would amplify each other rather than creating the chaotic static that characterizes most human social interactions. The resulting coherence would make possible technologies and social organizations that requires each miraculous from achieving this level of collective harmony current perspectives, but person to master the internal disciplines that Tesla practiced throughout his lifetime. You cannot contribute to coherent group consciousness while your individual awareness remains fragmented by conflicting desires, scattered attention, and emotional reactivity to external circumstances. The 369 code demands emotion and action around complete integration of thought unified purpose. This integration process reveals why Tesla's daily rituals appeared obsessive to outside observers. He wasn't suffering from compulsive behavior or mental instability. He was maintaining the precise internal conditions necessary for consciousness to operate at frequencies that most people never access. Every aspect of his routine served to eliminate interference patterns that could disrupt his connection. The walking to cosmic information streams patterns he followed around buildings created spiral energy signatures that aligned his bioelectric field with Earth's natural electromagnetic rhythms. The numerical requirements he insisted upon for objects in his environment established harmonic relationships that supported coherent consciousness states. The timing of his work and rest cycles honored the natural fluctuations of cosmic energy that influence human awareness throughout each 24-hour period. Modern neuroscience is beginning to validate what Tesla understood intuitively about consciousness and electromagnetic fields. Research brain shows that human wave patterns can achieve synchron magneticization with planetary field fluctuations when awareness maintains specific meditative states. The frequencies with expand associated consciousness correspond precisely to the mathematical relationships Tesla encoded in his 369 system. When your individual consciousness achieves stable resonance with these cosmic frequencies, remarkable changes occur in how reality responds to your presence. Synchronicities multiply beyond statistical probability. Information arrives through channels that bypass normal sensory input. Solutions emerge to complex problems without logical analysis or systematic research. You begin operating from direct knowing rather than intellectual understanding. This shift from thinking to knowing represents the fundamental transformation that Tesla's code makes possible. Most people spend their entire lives processing reality through mental analysis and emotional reaction. They interpret experience through filters of past conditioning and future anxiety. They remain trapped in sequential time consciousness that prevents access to the quantum realm where all possibilities exist simultaneously. Tesla's 369 frequencies and quantum consciousness. When you maintain alignment, provide the harmonic bridge between sequential time awareness with these patterns, your perception begins operating from the eternal now where past, present, and future converge. This expanded temporal awareness allows you to perceive the consequences of potential choices before making them, and to access information haven't yet crystallized into physical experience. The practical implications of this expand from probable futures that awareness extend into every area of human experience. Relationships transform because realm where access to the source surface you can perceive the deeper personality. Creative currents of connection that exist beneath projects flow because you gain interactions. All innovations exist in potential form. Health improves because you recognize the energetic patterns that create physical symptoms before they manifest because you understand that body. Financial abundance becomes natural. Money represents crystallized energy that flows according to the same principles governing all other forms of manifestation. You stop struggling to attract prosperity and start aligning with the frequencies where abundance already exists in unlimited supply. Your consciousness learns to receive rather than chase, to allow rather than force, to harmonize rather than compete. Tesla discovered that the universe operates on principles of infinite abundance rather than scarcity and competition. The same creative intelligence that generates countless stars throughout endless galaxies provides unlimited resources for conscious beings who learn to align with its operational exists only in consciousness that has forgotten its connection frequencies. Limitation 369 code serves to this infinite source, as a reminder system that helps consciousness remember its true nature and your awareness capabilities. When you structure principles, you're according to these mathematical, not learning something new. You're remembering something ancient that your soul has always known, but what spiritual triggers mind has been This rememdition to forget, earring process often traditions call the dark night of the soul, begins operating as consciousness from higher frequencies. Old patterns of thought that was and emotion for expand must be released to identity makes spaced awareness. The ego and struggle built around limitation resists this transformation because it threatens its continued existence. Tesla experienced this resistance during his most creative periods. He often worked in isolation periods, allowing his consciousness to maintain for extended coherence with cosmic frequencies without social expectations, interference from conventional. He understood that breakthrough innovations require consciousness to operate from frequencies that most people find uncomfortable or incomprehensible. The willingness to embrace this capability. Use-level discomfort represents the price of admission to Tesla of creative cannot access extraordinary possibilities while remaining attached to ordinary ways of being held about what will every challenge. The 369 frequencies assumption use limitation you've accept possible. Every day is permanent. Every fear has that prevented you from expressing your authentic power. But the rewards of this transformation extend far beyond personal achievement or individual learned success. When you operate from Tesla's frequencies, you become a catalyst for others to remember to cosmic intelligence their own connection. Your presence activates dormant potentials in everyone you encounter. Your example demonstrates what catalytic effect multiple becomes possible when consciousness aligns with universal principles it easier. This 6-9 Cohere more individuals essentially as person who masters Tesla's code makes sense. Each for others to access the size expone achieve 3 human consciousness gradually same frequencies. The collective field of shifts toward itself begins responding differently principles. Reality to human presence. Tesla'd resonance with cosmic mathematical envisioned a future where humanity operates that would seem and sustains all same intelligence from collective that creates alignment with the emerging existence. He saw technologies magical from current perspectives, social organizations based on harmony rather than competition, and forms of human experience that transcend everything recorded throughout history. This vision wasn't utopian fantasy or wishful thinking. Tesla understood the mathematical principles that would make such transformation to embody 3 inevitable once enough individuals learn 6-9 consciousness. He was establishing the foundation for humanity's next evolutionary could achieve direct leap by proving that individual awareness resonance with creative forces. The moment has arrived have defined human limitations. That in this transformation or remain trapped in the experience throughout recorded for you to decide whether you'll participate in history. Tesla's 369 code represents your invitation to step beyond conventional possibilities and embrace your authentic relationship with the intelligence that orchestrates cosmic creativity. This choice will determine not just your individual future but your contribution to humanity's collective evolution. Every person who learns to operate from Tesla's frequencies becomes a seed of possibility that influences the entire species. Your personal transformation contributes to the awakening that will eventually transform civilization itself. Tesla's 369 code isn't just knowledge to be understood. It's a frequency to be lived, a consciousness to be embodied. A cosmic invitation to remember who you truly are beneath all the conditioning that taught you to think small. The universe has been waiting for you to discover this mathematical signature of creation itself. Every moment you align with these sacred numbers, you step closer to the extraordinary being you were always meant to become.